Hey guys, Phil Harris here, and in today's video I'm going to be teaching you a little bit about music production. As you know, about a week or two ago I released a tech house remix of Smooth Criminal by Michael Jackson. I'm going to be jumping in, showing you a few things I did in this project to inspire you. Now, I'm very aware that a lot of the people on my channel who follow me are DJs and they're not music producers, but I would urge you, if you are just a DJ, to watch this, because the top DJs on the planet, the ones that go and do all the big festivals, the ones that have the big followings, are the ones who create their own dance music. And it's not as hard as you might think, and hopefully I'm going to show you some stuff in this that's going to inspire you. Now, if you are at the beginning of your journey and you would like to know more from the basics up, I've got some free training that I'm doing at edmcoaching.com. If you click the link below, it'll take you through. You can register and go and watch some free training, which will be perfect for you if you're on your first year of music production. Anyway, without further ado, let's jump straight into this project and I'm going to show you some cool stuff. So, the project itself is a tech house remix, and the actual main drop of the track sounds a bit like this. Okay, so the first thing I want to show you with this project is how I took the original bass line from Smooth Criminal and simplified it to make it sound more like a tech house bass line, okay? So the original bass line of Smooth Criminal sounded a little bit more like this. Okay, and essentially what's going on there is there's quite a lot of notes, and that can create quite a poppy kind of vibe because it's quite melodic. Okay, now, if you go and listen to any tech house music, the bass line often has one or two notes. Instead of going it's usually like just one or two notes, okay? Now, the reference track I was using is a Chris Lake track called Free Your Body, okay? This is a track that I was listening to get inspiration for my track. I was modeling my track on this track. And if you listen to the bass line of this track, you'll notice that the bass line is very simplistic. Free your body. It's like two notes, right? So I essentially went and took this bass line from Smooth Criminal that's a bit more poppy and just reduced it down to two notes. What I mean by two notes is if you look here, it just goes 1, 2, 1, 2. Everything is just on two notes. And it sounds a little bit like this. Let me just solo this again. And this kick. And you'll notice. And you can actually see where the old notes are for the old track. Instead of going da 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 da, it just goes dun 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 dun. I simplified it right down to make it sound more like a tech house track, and I borrowed that idea from a reference track I was using. So, hope that makes sense. That was the first thing I did, was I thought, how do I simplify this bass line? Okay, so the second thing I want to teach you about is how you can take any sound inside Ableton and loop it so tightly, just like you would on DJ decks, that it actually sounds more percussive, okay? So I got this sound here on the track that sounds like this. Now, in case you hadn't worked it out, this is actually just Michael Jackson singing, but pitched down and looped really tightly, right? So if I take one of these clips, I'm just going to grab this clip and drag it over here. Okay, now this clip, if I double click in it, what you're seeing down at the bottom is what's in this clip up here. And if I zoom out, what you'll see is the WAV file of the entire Michael Jackson track. So I'm just going to come in here, make sure there's no effects on it. And so if I press play, right, I'm just going to actually just turn the delay off for now. And if I open this up, what you'll find is, as I said, it's the whole Michael Jackson track. So if I just go and drag this back like this, you'll see it's just Michael Jackson singing. But of course, this is the original. Okay, so it's just him singing the entire track. But what you'll notice is what I've done is I pitched it down 7 semitones, pitched it down a couple of octaves so it was lower. And then the other thing which I've done as well, is I got this section of the track and just looped it. Now you could apply this to any part of the track. I could move this along to here if I wanted to and have it this bit. Okay, and what's awesome about this is you can take any sound, whether it's a guitar riff or someone singing or whatever, and you can get this loop and tighten it to a point that it actually sounds a bit more percussive. So this is a really cool thing. This is something I do all the time inside Ableton. If you're sampling, if you're doing a remix of a track, sometimes you can just take the vocal and loop it. Now in the actual track it sounds a little bit like this. How freaking awesome is that? And like I said, it sounds like actually more of a rhythm to the track, but it's not, it's just a bit of him singing. Okay, now, the third thing which I wanted to show you, which I think you'll find really awesome about this project as well, is a concept of adding an effect gradually over time and doing something called freezing an effect. So, we've got this track here, this bit where Michael Jackson's singing. It sounds like this. And what I've done is I've added this thing called spectral resonator. If I put this all the way up, you'll see that it actually makes it sound really metallic. Which is a really, really cool effect. But what I wanted is I didn't want it there the whole time. What I wanted it to do was actually just come in over time. So I've taken the dry wet knob and turned it up. So over time, him singing Annie, Are You Okay turns more metallic. Can you notice it getting more and more metallic? This is a really cool thing you can do. And the next thing I did is I wanted, just when he said, Are you okay, Annie? I wanted to get the bit where he said, okay, Annie, to repeat, Annie, 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 over and over. So what I've got here is a delay effect that I put on the track. And I've told the program to just turn on at the last moment here. So it's an effect that would cause a delay, but it's turned on just at the last moment so it catches when he says, okay, Annie, and it catches the bit where he says Annie and repeats it. But there's a second thing which I think you'll find really cool as well. There's a little button called freeze. If you hit that freeze button, it freezes whatever the delay is and keeps it going infinitely, okay? So not only had I told Ableton to make him sound more metallic over time, but at the last moment, I wanted to catch the word Annie, repeat it, and freeze it so it just stayed forever, okay? So have a listen to it. Walking, are you walking, Annie? Now, you might be wondering to yourself, why would you do that? Well, because with a lot of tech house tracks, it often comes down to a bit of a groove. You want to have a really cool groove, which is drums and percussion. You can get a groove from that. But you can also just get a groove from repeating things. So now I've got that thing going, Annie, Annie, Annie. If I layer it over this other sound, which I've already told you about this one, if I layer it over that, it creates a bit of a groove. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to play you this track, and the kick drum up here playing at the same time to show you how these sounds together can create a bit of a groove. And actually, I'm actually going to jump straight in and show you what it would sound like in the full track. It's a really cool thing. By causing these delays to just go on infinitely and looping things, you put it all together and it really adds a cool rhythm. This is it inside the full track. You see how cool that sounds when you've got all these different sounds just blending in and sitting on top of each other. So those were the three things I really wanted to point out in this project. Now, remember, The main thing here is, yes, this might seem quite overwhelming if you've never done music production before, but what I wanted to just show you is the level of creativity you can start putting into these projects when you understand how it works. And you can understand how it works really easy. Like I said, if you want to learn how to do this kind of stuff, and this stuff's like, wow, you know, this is the kind of stuff that you really like to be doing, go and check out edmcoaching.com. The link's directly below this. The 3 things which I taught you here was simplifying bass lines in order to match reference tracks, to make your track sound more like the track you want it to sound like. The second thing is looping an acapella so tightly that it actually sounds a bit more like a groove than actually singing. And the third thing is freezing delays, so the delay goes on for ages, which also adds to a bit of a groove of the track. These are all little things you can do. Even if you're making music at the moment, these are kind of things that hopefully will inspire you. And if you don't make music at the moment, hopefully you're watching this going, wow, this seems really creative, really cool. This is something I'd really love to get into. And I've inspired you to potentially take the next step forward in learning how to make this kind of music. I hope this helps. I'm aware that these kind of videos typically don't interest DJs that much, but like I said, definitely should go and look into this, go and download the free version of Ableton, dip your toe in the water, because you never know, you could be the next Marshmallow, you could be the next big thing if you just learn how to make music like this. Or not even like this, just learn how to make music. I'm rabbiting now, so I'm gonna finish the video there. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video. Ciao!